Okay, today I want to be talking about the influence that corporations and the government have on our thoughts and ideologies. A lot of people think that they have their own collective ideas, which they do, yes, of course. But the way that it can be swayed by other people changes that individualism, that central of their own, justified thoughts. A lot of it changes to mass ideas of the same, like a unison thought process, and that it becomes law of common sense. A lot of people get swayed in that way. A lot of through democracy, honestly, the Republicans have the idea that it's immigration is a force of natural, it's intruding on their land, being that it's harming them. It's a harmful way. That's how they're portrayed in the media. The media portrays the Republican Party through, this is a force of invasion. You know what I mean? These people are coming into our country and invading. The Democrats, they have a sense of, they need to, they need a place to stay. They don't have that sense of, and either way, it's not to be a bias. I'm not going to speak on that. And, I'm just giving a perspective. I'm just saying a lot of Republicans are swayed in the media. It's because they see it as both can be true, of course. There's both sides, and that's what a lot of people, can't distinguish. They distinguish that one side is the correct side and one side is the negative side. A lot of that is portrayed through media, and how can we change that? It's hard to change that, but what I wanted to say I just wanted to bring that ideology of, the sense of individualism that people have, even though they're being not controlled in a sense, but they're being swayed by media and through what they're consuming, because you are what you consume. You consume this media, and then you're relapsed it back, and you're through the subconscious being able to process that and be like, okay, well, I understand this and I see this, so I know this, but that can be swayed heavily, and a lot of people have a lot of swayed ideologies because of this. And to continue with my comparison, a lot of the Democrats see it as a way of, their asylum. They're coming to the United States to seek a lot of help, and that is true. But also, a lot of people can also, the Republican Party can see it as people needing free stuff. What about the American people? And both can be true. How can we fix that? It's very, very hard. It's money. It's a lot of control that needs to be broken down. A lot of people have control of certain areas that they want to, keep that central power. Same with New York and a lot of the democracy there. They accept bribes. They accept a lot of, foreign stuff because they want to have that sense of their stuff. And through TikTok, we see it a lot through TikTok. I've, been a victim of this, or my perspective victim. A lot of people can say, you shut the fuck up, you're not a victim. I'm not a victim, not to say that, but it's just a sense of thinking this through. I've been a victim to having, certain ideas because I was, brought towards that. I was swayed in that direction. But through education, you're able to think for yourself and see both perspectives. You're able to understand and distinguish that there's both sides of the story, and there's both can be wrong and both can be right. It doesn't change. There is no right to say, you know what I mean? It's just a theory. It's not something proven. You can't say, if you're in a group full of murderers and you're one person that does not murder, you can say, oh, well, I believe murder is wrong. But in the group comparison, a lot of people will say, no, it's not wrong. I do it all the time. You know what I mean? It's something that's a group, idea. So they get pushed towards that idea. And, you choose what you want to believe, of course. But a lot of people can't think for themselves, and they need to be, helped in that such a way. And it's it's terrible to say this, but a lot of people need to be, they need a sense of controlling by them. You know what I mean? They need to be controlled and manufactured in a way so they can't do certain things, which is, and what are those certain things, you know what I mean? Are they good things? Are they bad things? How can we know? It's unpredictable. And that's why a lot of government want to control the unpredictable by making it, unison common sense type of thing, where it's so media pushed and media, trendy, that their thoughts and ideologies are what's referred to as common sense. You know what I mean? Is it common sense, though, to think that way? No, it could be seen from a different perspective that it's not. And a lot of this can be seen as conspiracy theorists. Like, a lot of people can say, oh, you're stupid, you know what I mean? It's definitely a way of thinking. It's being able to understand that there's going to be a lot of people that don't think this way, but they also don't matter in this scenario because it's your personal ideologies, you know what I mean? I've been I like to say I've, seen many sides, and I can see more. I can obviously see more. I'm not all knowing, and that's being able to understand things and be like, okay, well, I understand this and I understand that. But how can we inform all of these people that they're being misguided? Are they being misguided? It's all your way of seeing it. You know what I mean? I see it as a way of being misguided because they're pushed towards this confactoring idea of certain common sense things that could not be seen, by common sense by many other people, and that creates a divide in our ecosystem of people. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing to think about, and a lot of it is structured. It's structured this way so they can maintain money and power. The top 1% of the people control that. Not to say that someone broke can't be have their mind in control. Of course they can. I mean, I'm one of a factor of that. You know what I mean? You can control yourself and be able to understand things with also not having money, but you can just have to have that education. It's all about your education, because that's honestly all that matters. You know what I mean? The way that you see your life, good or bad, like the way you envision it is all that matters. You can be seen by anyone else as someone terrible. You could say you were not a psycho because you don't have emotions, but say you had a full life of doing something you loved in 1 second. And what I mean by something you love, what if it was something negative in other people's eyes? You know what I mean? Now, why should I be able to take that away from you? No, I shouldn't be able to. But also, what is it if it is harming other people? And that's where you draw the line, with a society. Are these things that you're doing impacting other people's lives in a negative way? And then you have to go about that way of thinking it. It's a form of governing other people, and I don't see that as wrong personally. A lot of people can see that as wrong, but some people do need to be governed. Honestly, it's not a lot of people say that, but some people can't control themselves. They can't think for themselves without education, and they haven't been brought that. And how can we give these people education that they don't want? A lot of people don't want education. They just want to be, they want to be baby held the whole way through. You know what I mean? It's their life, but they just have their own. The mind works in complex ways. It's the way to adjust to things. So it's not to say that's their personal fault, which, I mean, sure, yes, it is from another argumentative standpoint. That is just rambling, honestly. I'm just rambling about that. But education is such a key aspect of life, and I mean education not with knowing how to fucking cross, divide, and multiply. I obviously know. I'm not I've done algebra, I've done all of these things, but those are not the foundations. You know what I mean? You have to be able to understand your body and how your mind works and how you what you consume, and that's the way a lot of things are going now. The government literally not the government. The massive corporations, they control the way that we're eating. They have chemicals in them to make us go back, to bring that addiction towards us. And yes, you can control your addictions through your mind, but how can you do that if you're so mentally incapacitated, not being able to think like I am, or other people that are so to say advanced in that scenario? You know what I mean? A lot of people eat things that they know. You know what I mean? For an example, this is something that's more of a teenager thing to say, but Lunchables and Lunchies, the Logan Paul thing and Lunchables, a lot of it, yes, what if Lunchies are healthier? You can draw a comparison, but what if they're both unhealthy? A lot of people I see in comments talk about Lunchables. Oh, I mean, I'm sticking with Lunchables because I've been with them for the rest of, okay, that's your anecdotal, and that's nothing wrong. That's your anecdotal, what you've seen throughout your life. I'm gonna stick to this because I've had this without any complications. But what if those complications are just gonna happen 40 years later? You know what I mean? It's what if they're both double-edged dagger? It's many corporations all have the same sort of ideas to get you into that product, to furthermore be addicted to it. And a lot of the tobacco companies back then, they controlled the tobacco, and they controlled those addictions to be able to have those customers resupplying. And when tobacco was heavily disagreed upon, those companies started to buy food products such as Kellogg's and stuff of that nature, and those are just not good for your body, not at all. You know what I mean? They're terrible for your body. And you are what you consume, so you consuming those products just leads you to to these unknown resources of unhealthy things. And honestly, I've seen a lot of school foods too. They're so fucking unhealthy. Honestly, I see it as unhealthy. It's hard to find unhealthy, a healthy option. I've obviously found that I stick to what I know is good, or what I think I know is good. That's all personal. But it's such a beautiful way of thinking. Once you're able to adapt to these situations and understand, you're able to flourish in your environment. When you're able to restrict yourself from this physical world and just think up through your brain, like, you know, your brain and process, it's a whole different way of viewing life. You know what I mean? And being able to say these things and talk about them, you know, further refine and refurbish what I'm thinking. They polish my thoughts and ideologies to furthermore build, you know, a more construct ideas of thinking and being able to share it. And anyone could see this, you know, my way of thinking is something terrible because they've thought, you know, a certain way for their whole life. They can see it's dumb. And I like to go back to what I've said before. You know, when I was younger, I told my Spanish teacher that what we were learning was stupid, which was Spanish. You know, the way that they were, you know, doing their language, the way their pronunciation was. I said it was stupid because, you know, I was so formal to English, but it's just their way of, you know, thinking. And what she told me was a beautiful statement. She said, you know, a lot of, you know, humans, they disagree with what they don't know. You know what I mean? They hate what they don't know. They say it's stupid, but they just don't have that understanding. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have the understanding, and I felt like I just needed to talk about this, express more of it. And I will go a little, you know, more into detail in different videos. It's just more of time construction. I want to finish this doobie per se, but I have many fucking things I want to talk about, and I will talk about it more. I'll upload this video, and I hope you guys very much enjoyed this you know, critical level of thinking, understanding of how we are talking, you know. And I've been able to talk better and more constructive without having to pause and have these you know what I mean. And I've only made 4 or 5 videos, you know what I mean. It's just being able to refurbish and say these things out loud to further refine my skills as a person, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to think about. And, you know, once I furthermore, you know, excel in my life, I hope to, you know, get a better camera, better, you know, audio, being able to express my thoughts and my visions more betterly. Betterly is not a word, but more, you know, successfully per se. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and maybe it helps you think more about different topics that you might not have thought about before. And if you have any questions, you know, obviously let me know. Text me personally if you watch my video through social media or something of that nature. Just ask me questions. I mean, of course, I'm, you know, down to probably send you a voice message since typing is so fucking otherworldly. But love you guys. Just comment if you have any questions. Come up to me in school. Many people have. Just let me know. All right, with that, have a good day.